on this YouTube clip, it's made by Press TV. Press TV is the Iranian news organization, and this was published on January 21st. And in it we can read that Kerry also said it is likely that some of the billions of dollars in sanction relief granted to Iran under the nuclear deal will go to groups Washington believes are terrorists. And I just want to play just a little bit of this clip here and let you get a feel for about what we just took the sanctions off about a week ago, and then the next day we put on a sanction for their ballistic missile test. And there's a person that gives us an idea, about how effective those new sanctions will be. Let's play just a few clips and
billions of dollars in sanctions relief granted to Iran under the nuclear deal will go to groups Washington believes are terrorists. His comments came a day.
All right, and then let's go over to about 108 right over here.
We're going to go to Minneapolis and talk to William Beeman, professor with the University of Minnesota. Welcome, sir, to the program. Professor Beeman, just how mischievous is Washington's move to impose sanctions on Iran, again, just a day after sanctions on Iran were lifted?
All right, and then...
you have to understand that all of this has to do with American domestic politics and not really with the relationship between Iran and the United States. In the United States, when we were talking about the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, the nuclear deal with Iran, the critics of President Obama, mostly Republican critics, again came out with a whole list of things that they found objectionable. They wanted to know about Americans or Iranian Americans that were in Iranian prisons, and they also wanted to know about this missile testing.
Okay.
Missile by imposing sanctions on sanctions with regard to this ballistic missile development. But these sanctions were very mild. They were directed at individuals and they were directed at companies. And I would tell you that I don't believe that any of them are going to have any effect whatsoever on dealings between the United States and Iran. They're very minor. But the United States could say to its critics, we imposed sanctions. Now, the question involved in the development of those missiles. You'll notice that it was the United Nations codicil to the original sanctions that caused this, but no other nation that was involved in the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action has followed and issued these sanctions. This is only involves the United States, and it only involves Iran, and the only reason that these things were imposed was to satisfy critics of President Obama. And as I say, they are extremely minor, and I doubt that they're going to have any effect whatever on commerce or on the development of better relations.
All right, so there we have another perspective about what's going on with these sanctions, the new sanctions. They're going to be pretty much harmless. But the interesting thing that I'm getting out of this is that the United States used the United Nations law to impose this sanction, but it was only the United States that's using this law to do it. And so why aren't the other nations coming out against Iran and putting sanctions on them and things like that? So this is bolstering that that position that Iran is able to point out that how unjust we're being, and that we're picking on them. No one else is picking on them like the United States. And look how United States is so unfairly picking on them. And that goes back to the prophetic point where Iran is stirring up everybody against Grecia, which now Grecia looks to be the U.S. All right, there you go, and hope that gives you a little perspective about what's going on.